This is the part 2 of how I made this beautiful trendy pants with side pockets and front pockets. If you've not watched the part 1 of how I cut this pants, you can do well to check my channel. So remember the pieces that we cut out? I placed it on my fabric and I had to trim off the excess that is there. And then after cutting off the excess, I'm going to go ahead and sew my pocket. Okay, so as you can see, I sew on my half an inch allowance that I left there. After joining that, I'm going to notch that the sewn part. Okay, I'm going to notch it. When notching, be careful not to cut through your sewn stitch. Okay, as you can see, when I lay it nicely, it is well seated. Okay, so next I'm going to just stop stitch it there. This is not compulsory, but I love doing this because it defines the pocket. Okay, just stop stitch on 0.25 inches. Okay, just on a tiny bit. So this is the second part of my pocket. Okay, and I'm going to place it as you see on your screen. All right, make sure to place your hip side properly. Okay, so after placing that, I am going to sew from the waist. Okay, I just stop stitch there for it to be held down. All right, so after stop stitching that, I am going to sew my pocket lining and pocket facing. Okay, I'm going to sew the both of them, that is closing the pocket. Okay, so as you can see on your screen, I am sewing the lining pocket and the main pocket. Okay, I am sewing the pocket lining and also the facing together. All right, so after sewing that, you can see that we now have our pocket. All right, and yeah, so you can see that the pocket is well defined now. Okay, but there is one more thing on the side, on the hip side. I am going to top stitch that part as well, so as to help secure the pocket and the fabric. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and replicate everything that I did on the other side of my pocket. Okay, on the right hand side, and I'm going to replicate it on the left hand side as well. So if you didn't grab some parts on how I explained it earlier, maybe this illustration would be easier for you to understand. So I am done sewing the other side as well. And okay, so because this is we are going to be having a pocket on the side. Okay, we are going to first sew the hip. You know that when joining your trouser, you first sew the crotch area, right? But this time around, we are going to first close the hip part. Okay, so that we'll have space for where the pocket can come in. All right, so this is me sewing on 1 inch of my allowance. Okay, I left a 1 inch allowance for my hip joining. Yeah, so I am done joining my hip and I spread it out like so. If you have your iron, you can go ahead and iron this the side very properly. Just spread it out and iron properly before attaching your pockets. Right now I am measuring where I want my pocket to be. Now this totally depends on you. Okay, so I want to place my pocket in between my knee and my hip. Okay, so I got my knee length and I am just measuring my knee. I'm measuring the amount of pocket that I cut out for this very part. Okay, so just indicate where you want your pocket to be, and then I just marked it on the right side. Okay, because of course the pocket will be on the right side. All right, so with the pocket that I've cut out, I'll be using the measurements I have there to measure out the length and the width of my pocket. Yeah, so right now we are going to come in with the pocket. Before we place it on the fabric, I'm going to close the upper part of my fabric. I'm going to fold it in two. I'm going to fold it 2 times and so these are my 2 pockets. Okay, so I just closed both of them at once. So after doing that, I am going to bring my fabric again, and then I am going to get the midpoint of that very pocket of mine. I am going to get the midpoint, and I'm going to match it with the midpoint of where my pocket is going to be as well. So after matching it, I am going to pin it down to secure it so that it doesn't move around when stitching, and then I'm just going to fold in and then top stitch. Okay, top stitch close to the edge of your fabric, that is the edge of the pocket. Okay, it should be neater that way. So this is me closing the down part of the pocket. Okay, that is that length part. So I am closing that part, and I went ahead and sewed the other parts too. Okay, so you know that this pocket can be sewn in different ways. Okay, if you want, you can add border to your own pocket, but this particular style does not have a border. Okay, so this is my pocket flap. Okay, this is my pocket flap. So I just measured it to be sure that I am still working with the measurement after I closed the pockets. Okay, so I noticed that it was it had more excess, so I just had to close it by the amount of excess I have there. So I am done attaching my pocket. Okay, so I just attached it. I just sew on 0.2 inches on the other part, or you can sew on half an inch and then trim off. And then after trimming off, you're just going to top stitch on the flap, just as you can see me do. Okay, so whatever I did on the other side, I did it on the second part, and here I am closing the crotch. I am matching the front crotch line to the other front crotch line. You know that our trouser is slit into 4. Front has 2 pieces and back has 2 pieces. So that crotch area, I am closing it for my front, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for my back. Remember that we already closed the side, which is the front, one part of the front and also one part of the back. So we are done closing the crotch area, and this is what we have right here. Okay, so we are going to also close the under part of the arm. Okay, that is from the hem, from one ankle to the other. Okay, so we are just going to hold it together like you see on the screen and sew on half an inch. Remember that the allowance we left there is just half an inch. So we are going to close that part, and when you while closing, you make sure that your front crotch line and the back crotch line are meeting at the same spot. So I am done joining my trouser. You can see how easy and straightforward this tutorial is. If you haven't followed my channel, please do well to do so. If you've watched this part of the video, I would say thank you so much for standing by. So next is my waistband. Okay, so I already showed you how I cut out my waist band in the first video. So right here, I measured round the waist of my trouser, and I cut out the same amount of band. Okay, so this band is about 2.5 inches. It is 2.5 inches because I am using a band of an elastic of 1 inch only. So by the time I fold the 2.5 inches, okay, I'll be having 1.25. You can use 3 inches for yours. All right, so after that, I measured about half an inch from the top part of my band. After marking it, I'm going to place my elastic. This part is very important, so please pay attention and look carefully, watch closely. Okay, so this is how I am going to turn my elastic. Okay, you can see how it is. All right, so if you do not understand, just go back and rewatch that part again. So after folding my elastic, I'm going to go ahead to secure that part. Okay, you can as well fold your band immediately without securing, but I had to do this for the purpose of this tutorial, and you can try that as well. There is nothing wrong with it. So I am done folding, joining the elastic. Okay, so I am going to fold my band, okay, just the way you are seeing. I'm going to fold my band and I am going to sew, secure that edge. Okay, I am done doing that, and this is what I have. You can see that that part that is joined, both the elastic and the fabric, is well and neatly placed. So next I am going to sew my close my band, okay, with my elastic in between. All right, so I am going to drag my elastic as much as I can. If you want, you can just use pin to hold it, to stretch it to the end of the band. Okay, all right, so and then you stretch as you go, stretch until the elastic is well fit into the band. So after sewing, I'm going to place my elastic that I've joined. I'm going to sew it to the main fabric, okay, which is my pants. I'm going to sew it to the waist. Okay, just sew it on that half an inch allowance that you left there. Okay, so after sewing, just fold the hem of your trousers. You can use your hemming gun or you can just fold twice. Okay, so I just woke up to 100 subscribers. I want to say thank you to everyone that has been supporting this channel. Thank you so much. I can't do this without you all. Thank you. So see you in my next video, and do well to subscribe, share and comment on my video. Bye bye.